Hello, welcome to the Extended Professional Learning Opportunity Technology track. Today we will be discussing some tips for you to use in Microsoft Word. We will be doing this presentation on the desktop version of Word, and I will be working in 2019. However, if you are in Word 2016, a lot of the functions will be the same for you in that version. Want to quickly give you this visual on the screen of that top bar or ribbon of a Word document. We're not going to go through each of these individually, but it is here for you to reference and pause should you want to read these individually. Today, we are going to be working in this quick access toolbar. We are also going to be working with some smart lookups, and we are going to be using the quick parts. But it's helpful for you to know that when we come across this orange section, that we call these tabs. And underneath each tab, you are going to have a series of commands, which are what is down here underneath the tab. So every time you move to a new tab, your series of commands will change to match the tab that you are on. Some things to note about the tabs in Microsoft Word is that they are very similar to the same tabs that live in Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. So if you can learn the tabs in one Microsoft product, a good possibility that you will understand the tabs in all of the Microsoft products. So for example, when you are on the Home tab in Word or Excel or PowerPoint, some of the commands that will be available to you are the clipboard or your font sizes, your font color, things like that. And just another example, when we are under the View tab, whether it's in Microsoft or Excel, or I'm sorry, Word or Excel or PowerPoint, when you're on that View tab, some of the things that you can count on seeing as commands would be how to view, your immersive reader. You can do your page layout, or I'm sorry, your page movement from there. So these tab names and the commands that live with them are interchangeable throughout the Microsoft products. All right, I am going to hop off of the PowerPoint, and we're going to go ahead and get right into the test document that we'll be using today. This is just a quick test document that I collected off of one of the Google Spaces, and we're using it for today. It's just a letter from the beginning of the school year. So when we go into a Word document, some of the first things that I like to go ahead and point out is this area up here at the very top where you see my check mark in a magnifying glass. I want to go ahead and let you know that we call this the Quick Access Toolbar. Now, by default, Microsoft Word has the Quick Access Toolbar defaulted to your Save, your Undo, and your Redo. These other additional icons that you see, I put those on there, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So let me start by taking off the ones that are not part of the default. And I'm doing that simply by doing my drop-down window here next to my icons. And it's going to let you know it's the customized quick access toolbar. Whatever you see a check mark next to, that means it lives up here. If you, anything that doesn't have a check mark, you have the option to add it. Now you can see that I have this spelling one that is not showing down here, but I still want to go ahead and remove it. So what I can do is, sorry about that. I can instead right click over this icon and have the same option to remove from the quick access toolbar. So how do we go ahead and find those and add those to our quick access toolbar? So now I have it back down to the system's basic default icons here, and I should have the save. So this is your basic default icon. You can go to your drop down here, and this is where we can start adding some more. So let's talk about some of the pretty common ones in here. The first one that you're going to see is new. That opens up a new document for you. We know that there are multiple ways that you can start a new document, right? You can go over to File, New. If you are somebody who likes to use keyboard shortcuts, you can do Control-N for a new document. If you're creating a lot of new documents, maybe that's something that you want to pin. And if you do, you just simply left click it, and it's going to give you some type of visual icon that it's been added. If you're not sure what the icon is, just hover over, and it's going to go ahead and let you know what that icon stands for, as well as give you the shortcut key on how to use that icon or that command. And so in this case, like I said, Control-N will give you a new document. Now, when we go back to our drop down here, another one, I'm going to go ahead and take off my new. That's not one I would use most often. One that I do find very helpful is the email quick access command. I'm going to go ahead and pin that one, and then I want to talk to you about it. When we have our email quick access here, what this is doing is indicating that whatever document you're on, so in my case, I'm on my test document for word tips. If I wanted to quickly email this document to somebody, I could come up here to my quick tool access bar, click the email button. I will share a new screen with you and show you what pops up. When we do a news share, what you're going to see here is that this then, by clicking that email button inside of that Word document, it's going to go ahead and start your email for you. Some of the cool things about this, your document is going to be added as an attachment. And it's going to go ahead and take the name of your document and dump it into the subject line. Of course, this becomes just sending an email. So you can update this, the subject line, if you want to title it something else. You figure out who you want to send it to, put your body of the message here, and then you can send it off. So that's one really cool tip with the email quick access toolbar. Let's come back over here. And we're going to go ahead and see here, we have some quick prints. We have that spelling and grammar that we had on there. When we put the spelling and grammar on, what I want to point out, if I go in here and I take out the letter N on the word behind, we can see that right here, what that's going to do is give us a red underline, and that's letting us know that it's not recognizing this word as a word in the dictionary. So from here, you have a couple of options. Once you see that underlined text, you can right click on that word, and it's going to give you some spelling suggestions. You can pick one of those. You can say ignore all, which means, hey, anywhere where you see this trend, this BEHID, I want you to ignore it everywhere in this document. But you can also add it to the dictionary. So for example, if you have a tricky last name like mine, Descheneau, the dictionary is not necessarily going to pick that up. But if I add it to my dictionary, it will then stop asking to autocorrect the way the spelling is, because now it's part of my dictionary. So know that you have those options. The other option is to have this ABC spell check up here. So if we click that, what it does, instead of you just doing word for word, where you would see these underlined reds, Instead, you're going to get this proofing window over on the right, and you're going to see that you have a lot of the same options as when you right click. The beauty about this one is that you can keep going throughout the document. So if I say ignore once, it's going to take me to the very next word that is underlined in red that it wants me to do some kind of action on. Now, for example, this one is hashtag all in CS or CCS, which I knew was one of our initiatives at the beginning of the school year. I'm going to go ahead and say add that to my dictionary. Our CCS is another one of our hashtags that we use. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the dictionary, but you can see how this is just going through my spell check. And then it will finish out at the end of the document and close out your proofing. So again, two ways that you can proofread. You can scroll and look for those underlines, or you can go ahead and have up here on the quick access the spelling and grammar. When we hover over that, you're also going to see that the shortcut key to initiate your spelling and grammar is the F7 key. All right, so let's come back here to our quick access toolbar. I want to go ahead and fall outside of these ones that are kind of common commands that people would use. And I want to go down here to the more commands. Now, when we come down here, it's going to look busy. Stay with me. The first thing that we're going to look at in the middle of the screen is this choose command from. And the first thing that you're going to see is popular commands. These are popular commands that are used in Microsoft Word. The system is just tracking through an algorithm. So it's not necessarily Columbus City Schools most popular, just Word's most popular. And some of these down here might already be commands that you want to have on your quick access toolbar. And if you see one that you want on there, then you can just go ahead and add it. So for example, I'm going to select the find button. I like to go ahead and search for a word in my document. So all I have to do is underneath the popular commands, these are all of the commands that are showing, click on the one, highlight the one that you want to have on your bar up here. And then in the middle here, you're going to click add. It's going to move it over to the customize quick access toolbar section. So this is going to be everything that's going to live up here. Right here, it's going to say, how do you want this quick access toolbar to display? And I would recommend that you keep it for all documents. That way, it is going to have this bar for all of your documents. You could select to have it be just for a particular document. But if you're setting up these quick commands, in my mind, I'm thinking we would want those all the time or most of the time. So keep it at your default. And then through here, you can keep adding as many items as you want here. When you get done, you're simply going to select OK. And then you're going to see that my little search icon came up here. If I hover over it, I will see that it's called the find icon. And I can use my Control F to go ahead and use that function with my keyboard shortcut keys. All right, one more thing I want to show you on the more commands. After we leave popular commands, there are a lot of options for you to go with. Remember when we first got on and I was talking about the different tabs and how the tabs have commands under each of them? If you know what those commands are that live under a tab, then you can most certainly just go to the tab and look for those commands. So for example, if I went to the Insert tab, now I'm going to start seeing things that are associated with this Insert tab up here in the blue. So for example, add a table, right? If you are somebody who works with tables a lot in your Word document, maybe you want this to be a quick command. Fold it over here, add OK when I get done here, and it'll pop up here. And that way you can quickly put in a table. Another one that I know is pretty popular in a Word document anyway is what we call the word count. And if you don't know what tab something lives under, the best thing for you to do is to go to the all commands. The all commands will be commands for every tab that lives up here, and they are in alphabetical order. So for example, if I wanted to go find that word count, because I know in a Word document, a lot of people like to use that, I can come down here to the W's, look for my word count, add it, and now when I hit OK, both my table and my word count will be added up here. To remove an item when you're in this table, we can just select them and then do the remove. I want that to go back, so I'm going to add it in. If ever you just want to start over, your commands got too many and you just want to take it back to the reset and redo them, all you have to do here is just click the reset button and it'll go ahead and reset to those 3 commands that I told you, the save, the undo, and the redo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. We are now going to see there is my added table and there is my word count. Perfect. So that is your quick access toolbar. Really recommend that you go in there. Think about the things that you do all the time or that you can't remember where you find it, but you got to get to it enough and you don't want to keep remembering what tab it lives under. This would be a great space for you to add those. Okay, we are going to shift from the quick access toolbar, and we're going to go ahead and go into something that I call, well, Microsoft Word calls Smart Lookup. So you can see here, I have a couple of words on the document that are highlighted. I'm going to go ahead and start with this one down here, the info, back to school, highlight that I have right here. Now, in order for you to use Smart Lookup, I want you to think that in order to look something up, the system has to know what we're thinking about. So if we just have our cursor somewhere in the document, it doesn't know what you're trying to look up because there's nothing selected. So first thing you have to do is highlight or highlight whatever it is that you want to look up. In this case, I'm going to look this up. Once you have your text selected, you're going to go ahead and right click and you're going to see this command that says Smart Lookup. And we're going to click that. And once you do that, you're going to get 2 options over here on the right pane. You're going to have the Explore option and the Define option. We're going to start with Explore. Now, a Word document is a Microsoft product and Microsoft search engine is Bing. So when you are using Smart Lookup, it's going to default to a Bing search because that's Microsoft's product. So that is what it's doing here. It's doing a Bing web search and it's just taking out this information and trying to decipher where is this link on the web. And we can see here that immediately our first return here is a link to our CCSOH Back to School homepage. And so if you click this, I will share a new screen. It's going to take you right here to that same hashtag that was under there. This is what that Smart Lookup looked for. So let's go back over to our testing document. Any of these web addresses, there are a line of them. You can even click more to get more results, but really it's going to have your most popular result up top. Now watch what happens when I go over to Define. It's going to show that there are no results found because I want you to think of Define as a dictionary definition. And there's not really a dictionary definition for info:/ccsOH.us/back to school. So you're not always going to get the results even through Smart Lookup. But when we're thinking about definition, if I go to the word COVID-19 here, a couple things I want you to notice. It does not automatically update the Smart Lookup. you have to, once you select the word, you have to right-click again and do Smart Lookup. And now it's going to start a new search based on my new criteria. It's always going to default to your Explore first. Here are my web searches and my publications about this particular word. And again, I can just click these to go to the article or to the web search. But if I go to define here, because this is a word that lives in the dictionary, we can get a quick definition of what that word is. So why is that, or how is that really helpful to you all with your word workings? A lot of times we will get documents from other people or other sources, even sometimes outside of the district. And they're using terminology that maybe is not familiar to us, or it's just a word we haven't ran across before, or it's an initiative that you would like to find out more about. This is a quick way to do that while you still have your document up, but you can go and do some quick smart lookup references so that you can have more detail for the document that you're viewing. So hopefully, the smart lookup was helpful for you. And we are going to go ahead and move on to the quick parts. All right, so we are going to go ahead and move over here to our, make sure I'm on the right screen. Back on our testing document, I'm going to go ahead and close out the Smart Lookup. I am going to go to our Insert tab, and we're going to come over here to this little area called Quick Parts. Now let's talk about Quick Parts just for a moment. Sometimes you'll hear quick parts referred to as building blocks, and I really want to let you know that they're kind of just the same thing, but let's talk about it for understanding purposes. When we talk about building blocks, I want you to think of like templates or things that we're saving to use over and over again. For example, when I am on the Insert tab and I come over here to this, all the way to the left to this cover page command, right? This is a tab, and these are the commands that live under this tab. On the Insert tab, the cover page command, I have this little drop-down arrow, and when I click that, what it's doing is giving me some suggestions of different types of cover letters that I could insert into this document. And so what we see right up here, right at the top, we see built in. And that's what we mean by building blocks. These are just things that are pre-established by Microsoft or something that you built. Same thing when we go over here to table. All these are building blocks that are set up to help you create this command, okay? But we're gonna live under the quick parts and do some building blocks under there. So when we talk about quick part, opposite of right cover page, which would throw in a cover page, or table that would put in a table, your quick parts, I want you to think, are commands, again, that you're going to use repeatedly, that you don't want to have to keep getting from another document or retyping it every time. So let's talk about how we set those up. First thing we want to do is go to this auto text. Again, we are under the quick parts in the auto text. When we do that auto text, see how we have these little arrows that give us more options. These are your building blocks. These are just a couple of general things that I built out that are just auto text things. I'm going to show you how to build these too. When we go to document properties, these are ones that are pre-defined by Microsoft that you will have control over. Now, when you use these, it will land itself in your document wherever your cursor lives. So let me click off. I'm going to go ahead and put my cursor right here at the end of this paragraph. I'm going to go back to my quick parts. I'm going to go to the document property, and I want to go ahead and just show you how these can work. If I come over to the document property, I come down here and I put select this company option. You can see right here, it's going to go ahead and put a box right here. It's going to allow me to type in what I want this to say. I'm going to put Columbus, I have to spell it right, C-O-L-U-M, Columbus City Schools. And so when I hit enter, and I click off, Columbus City Schools is in here. When I hover over that, you're going to see it's gray. That tells me this is something that I'm just inserting. I'm not typing this. Watch what happens when I go down to the next paragraph. Here I am down here at this paragraph after the word roll. When I go back to my quick parts, I go to the document property and I put in company. It's going to automatically put in Columbus City Schools for me. That's what I've named that command. Okay, so just know that you do have some pre-established options for you that you can then go in there and name. Another one of these pre-established that's pretty cool, and it can fit really good maybe up at the top of your document or at the bottom of your document, wherever you want to put it. I'll just put it right here after CCS for demonstration purposes. But one of the really cool ones that I like on the pre-established is this publish date. When you click that, it's going to give you a calendar option. You can go ahead and put in today's date. This is super helpful when you are trying to establish where the last update was. Maybe you have the file name at the bottom of in your footer that has not only the file name, but the file location. You could add in this published date, for example. Now, the cool thing with the published date, I'm going to come down here to this area. The published date is not going to save as today because it is a calendar option. It's just going to default to the last calendar date that you put in, but it's always going to give you the calendar option to change that. All right, so some pretty cool things with the pre-established quick parts that are in there. But let's go ahead and talk about how to build our own quick parts. We're going to go ahead, head back over here to the quick parts. We are still under our index tab. And what we are going to be doing is save selection to the quick part gallery. And we want to save something that we're creating. But again, the system doesn't know what we want to save. We have to tell it first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this one right here that says short post ideas. Let's say this is something that the short post ideas are something that I'm going to send out with every communication out to the school building. So every time I send a communication, I just want to go ahead and drop this at the bottom so that they have these short post ideas available to them. I have all of them selected by highlighting them. I'm going to come back up here to my quick parts, and now you're going to see that I have the save selection to quick part gallery. It's highlighted because I have given it information that we want to work with now. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then we're going to get into setting this up. First thing you want to do is name this quick part for you to reference later. Again, it's going to start just recognizing what you have out here and take it as a suggestion. The one thing with your building blocks, excuse me, is that it will have limits on how far it can go out, and you can put this in whatever format you want. I can take this out of all caps and just say short post and I can leave it like that. Down here in the description, I can give it more options and say, send with every school communication through, we'll say October, through winter break, right? Whatever it is. Just your quick reminder of why you're using this. You have it set up to use. That's what I'm going to put in there. When we go to the gallery right here underneath our short post, we have it at quick parts. We're going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to show you that you have other options. Again, I want you to think of these other options as like your tabs across the top. If you wanted this to live in your table, for example, you would have it live under the tables command. If you wanted this to live under the cover page command, it would live over here. But we're working on quick parts, so we're going to say we want these just to live under our quick parts. Perfect. Then we have this category selection. And when we do our drop down here, you're going to see it defaults to general. We have options to create new categories, which I'm going to do. But I want to explain categories in this reference. I want you to think of them as like folders. So if I had a bunch of things that I always wanted to put in my school communications, they just are coming from different places, I can have all of those live under this new category that I'll create called school communications. Okay, and then I click OK. All that's doing is giving me another folder, if you will, to store all of these particular quick commands, these quick commands that are just quickly going to be shot out in every school communication. Okay, so I'm going to say, yep, we're going to have those live under school communication. We are going to save it in our building blocks. That's what we're building. And then our options here, I'm going to go through those real quick. When we say insert content only, that is going to insert whatever it is that you have selected. In my case here, my short post ideas, that whole section, it is going to insert itself into your document wherever your cursor lives. If we do insert content in its own paragraph, it's going to go and look for the next paragraph that's available from where your cursor is and insert it there. And if we use the last option, it's going to just put it on a whole new page at the end of your document. We are going to keep it at the default insert content only because I know I just want it to go wherever my cursor is in this case. Once we click OK, it is now saved. I'm going to go to the bottom of this document. I'm going to go ahead and insert a blank page. And now when we're down here on this blank page, when I come back up here to my quick parts, you're going to see I have this folder now that's called School Communications. The only thing I have saved under there right now is this particular quick part that I added. I'm going to click it, and you're going to see that all of that stuff that we highlighted and saved as a quick part just got inserted with one click. Okay, so let's do a couple more things with that. When we think about quick parts, I also want you to know that we can insert pictures, we can insert links, text, all kinds of things that we can do there. I'm going to go ahead and save this picture as a quick part. Maybe in your document, you like to have your logo just established somewhere in the document, whether it's in the header or the footer or within the body of the document. You like to have our logos present with every school communication that you're going to send out, for example. Right now, I have this highlighted, right? I have it selected, so I can go over to my quick parts. Again, I'm going to be creating my own, so save selection to a quick part. We're going to start off with naming it. I'm going to call this one CCS Apple logo. I do want this to live in my quick parts because I just want to get to it quickly from here. I do not want it to live in my general. I want this to go under my school communications. I want to make sure I do this every time that I send a school communication. Down here, again, I could add another description if I wanted to. This is the red and white logo if I needed to. And then I'm going to keep these where they are again. Click OK. When I come back down here to our new page where I had already inserted this quick part, I'm going to go ahead and do a space, go up to the beginning here and say, you know, when I send this out, I want it to have our logo in there as well. And there it is. By simply going to my quick parts, clicking that Apple logo that lives under my school communications, and there it is. I do want to show you how we can save things like this in our headers and footers. So in my header up here, I have quick parts header. It's just a statement, but a lot of times we can have in our headers and footers, maybe we have our building location. Kingswood Data Center. I can put 1091 King Avenue. And maybe I want to go ahead and grab this and put it in here as well. Make it a little bit smaller so it's not taking over. I'm going to do that over so I can show you how to do this. Instead, what I'm going to do is I am going to, because I want that logo in there, I'm going to go ahead and insert a table into my header so that I can have my logo here. And then I can take this information, I'm just going to cut it from here and add it here. From here, I can highlight the whole table, go to my borders here and say no border. And then that looks real pretty like that. When I come in here, I highlight this table. I go back over to my insert because that's where my quick parts live. I go to my quick part. Save section to the quick part gallery, same thing we've been doing. I'm going to go ahead and name this header with logo. I do want this to, or this time I want to leave my quick part space, and I want to show you how we can add these to other areas. So for example, I want this to be one of my header options that I have available to me. I'm going to go ahead and this time, instead of saving it in my quick parts over here, I want to go ahead and save it in my footer that lives right here. So I'm going to go ahead, or I'm sorry, header that lives right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my header. Again, this is going to be our options here. So you have the built-in option, which is when I click header, it's going to automatically come up as that built-in, just like we saw over on the cover page. Or I can just put it in a general folder, or I can create a new category. I like to have control, so I'm going to go ahead and create new category, and I'm going to call these personal headers, right? These are ones that I set up that I will want to use for my location. And click OK. Down here, I can put, this is the Kingswood Data Center address with logo. Just a description to help keep me organized. I'm going to keep it in my building blocks, and down here, I want to go ahead and always just have it be wherever my cursor is and click OK. Perfect. Now I am going to open up a new document and go ahead and test this in our new document. Okay, so here we are with a brand new document. You can see it's called document 1. We haven't even saved it. And I want to go ahead and get this document started by getting my header in there. So again, knowing that header lives under the insert tab, right? This is our insert tab. Header is a command. I'm going to go ahead and do my drop down here. And what you're going to see from here is these are my built-ins, right? We're always going to look at our folders that are in this little gray area. First thing that's going to default show up are the built-ins that Microsoft built for me. But if I keep scrolling, you can see we have a scroll bar here. Now you're going to start seeing, oh, most and even pages. These are different ones that we have options for. We're going to keep scrolling all the way to the bottom where you're going to see where I've created my own personal headers folder. And this is where my header lives. So keep in mind, let me go ahead and click this. Remember when we were talking about the quick parts, and the quick parts are going to go in depending on where your cursor is. That is if you're on your insert tab and you're under your quick parts. But because I stored this one under the header, it automatically knows to put it in a header. I don't have to be up here in the header. Now, what I don't like is it did not take my formatting for the no border, so I would go and resave that. But there now is my header in my document based off of my header quick part, if you will, that I had saved. Okay, so those are some cool ways that you can do them. Your quick parts can either be saved under your quick parts, or it can be saved under any of the other folders. Let's go back to our testing document. So again, that quick parts, when we have something selected, you can either create your own folders or use the ones that are there. Okay. All right. Please don't forget that you can use all kinds of great things in there. When I copied over my first quick part for the short post ideas, remember that this, this link right here to our CCS page came over as part of that quick part drop-in that I did. All right. The next tip that I want to go over with you all before we close some things out is also on the insert tab. What I want to go to this time is under this little links area. So I want to talk about the links and the bookmarks here, particularly with us going virtual in a lot of spaces in the world, and there's a lot of technology focus and getting people directed to other resources, whether they're on a website or a document. All of those can be linked within your Word document for quick access. So there's a couple of ways that you can link data. The first one, excuse me, is to go ahead and have whatever it is. I'm going to go back to the top of our data here. And let's say that I want to take Columbus City Schools right here. And every time we run across Columbus City Schools, I just want to go ahead and just automatically link them to our website. So they can, anytime that they see Columbus City Schools, go ahead and link it. The way that we can do that first is to go ahead and highlight whatever it is that we want to link. Come up here to your link icon, click it. And then it's going to give you this display option. So let's talk about what we got. The first thing we're going to see over here, just reading left to right, the first thing we see is link to. What are we linking? Are we linking a web address or a file? Are we just linking something, an email? Are we linking a something that somebody else sent you? So we have to think about what we want to link. And in this case, we're going to default to, we want to link a web page. When we come over here to the middle, it's already going to display the text that you want to link, because I had it selected, the words Columbus City School. Again, the system's just smart enough to know, oh, okay, so maybe you want to name it that. So it'll go ahead and leave your text to display as Columbus City Schools, but please know that you can change this to anything that you want it to be. I'm going to leave it what we have it as. Okay. And then it says, all right, where do you want me to look for whatever it is that you want to link? And in this case, if it was a file, we would go ahead and start searching our computer for whatever file. Right now, I am linked up to my Microsoft training documents. If I wanted, I could link one of these files from my current folder. Okay, we don't want to link a file. We want to, and we don't want to link a page or recent files. We want to come over and browse the web. It's going to go ahead and default me here. Let me make sure you all see my new screen. It's going to bring you to a Microsoft Word search or a Microsoft Bing search. And in here, I know I want to go find Columbus City Schools. Now, in this case, I know that our web address is ccsoh.us, but I want to show you how you can go and search this. So if you said, look, I need to link to Columbus City Schools, it's going to go ahead and bring that up. And you go, yeah, I just want to take them to our home page. Now you have the web address right up here. When you select that, you're simply going to highlight it. You're going to right click and copy it. Go back over to your document where you want that to live. And then, and it automatically puts it in there once you click it. Perfect. I told you that you had to copy it, but it's because we're coming from this space right here. It knew to dump it right in there as soon as you click it. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and click OK. Now what happens is it's going to turn this blue color. It's got this hyperlink that's underneath it when it's highlighted blue and it has that line under it. We call it a hyperlink. And when you hover over that, it's going to let you know that you can go ahead and get to that web page by holding down your control key and clicking your mouse. Okay, and they'll take you to our Columbus City Schools web page. Perfect. That is how we can link documents. Now, there's another way that we can link as well. I'm going to go ahead and just come to the very bottom of this page. Right here, you can see my cursor right here. If I want to link something, but I don't really know what it is yet, I just know I'm going to go out and link a file this time. I'm going to go ahead and say I want to put in this PDF right here. Now, what happens when you don't have text already selected and you just want to go start linking something? Notice what it's going to do up here on your text to display. When we see this text to display, this is what's going to show up within the document. So instead of this being this file location, we can then highlight all of this. And again, this is where I was letting you know that you can change the name. This instead, I'm going to go ahead and call this, click here for a PDF training guide, right? I can call it anything I want. And then this down here is where it's going to go find that file to put in the document. Let me go ahead and click OK. And now we have, hey, click here for a PDF training guide, right? Whatever I typed in there, you could just have click here. When you hover over that, what we're going to see is it's going to allow you to click and link to this document. So I'm going to practice that to show you how this works. I have my control key down. I'm going to go ahead and left click. It is opening up in another window, and I will go find that for you. And then when I do a new share, this is the document that I was sharing. I just picked one out of random, but then you can see that you quickly get linked to that document while the document that you are working within is still available for you to work with. So you can quickly view other documents while still having this one open with our links. Okay, let's talk about bookmarks real quick. So bookmarks, at first, when Word came out with it, kind of confused me a little bit because I was like, why are we bookmarking Word documents that we're just going to save to either the cloud or our computer? What is there to bookmark? I don't want you to be confused like me. Bookmarking in this case means bookmarking a section of your document. So where would that be helpful? Obviously, I'm not working on a very long document here. It's just a test document that I was using. But imagine that you have a contract that you're going through, and there are certain areas of that contract that you're going to have to keep referencing. Maybe it's an area that you're not that familiar with, so you want to keep going back to it to get, further understanding. Or maybe it's just a really long document and only part of it pertains to you. So you want to bookmark the part that you're responsible for, whatever the scenario is. In order to bookmark things in a document, again, we want to keep in mind that the system doesn't know what we want to do until we tell it. So we have to go ahead and indicate what it is that we want to bookmark. I'm going to go ahead and use this virtual family engagement session section right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it because I work in family engagement. I want this available to me real quick. Every time I go to this document, I just want to come here and grab this information, whatever the situation is. You have it highlighted. Once you have it highlighted, you're going to come up to your bookmark tab. When we highlight over that, it's going to give you some information to let you know that these work with hyperlinks. Again, we have a hyperlink in our section here that we're using. You can use these to quickly get to hyperlinks or information. Okay, so we get here, we're going to see that we do not have any bookmarks currently saved. We also don't have the ability to add one or delete one or go to any of them because we're at a completely blank slate. In order for this bookmark feature to start working, we got to put something in. I'm going to call this my virtual family engagement info. And now, I do this every time. Another fun fact about bookmarks. So you can see that I did VFE info with a space. And as soon as I put that space in there, all of these features grayed out for me again, because in your bookmark name, you cannot have spaces. So I will do VFE info, all one word. And now you can see that I have the add button with the blue bar so I can add it. I'll go ahead and click add. What this does is it names this section VFE info. If I wanted to name this something else, I go back to bookmark. I add a new phrase. I call this testing. And I do add. When I come back up to my bookmarks, you're going to see that both of these exist and they are both the same information. So let's go ahead and test that so you see how this works. I'll come down to my clean document here. When I go to my bookmark and I say, hey, take me to the VFE info, and then I click go to and hit close, it's taking me right here. The same thing is going to happen when I say, take me to my testing info, and I say go to, because when I highlighted it and bookmarked it, it was the same information. So you can call the same information different things, but every time that you bookmark, you have to have something new highlighted. Again, I could go here. I can say, I want to see this whole paragraph. and I can bookmark this. I can always start with your name. This is going to be intro paragraph. GRAPH, and then I do add. So maybe I'm 30 pages into this document and I was like, what did that opening paragraph say again? I can come up here to my bookmarks, quickly say, go to my intro paragraph by clicking go to, close this out, and it's going to take me right there. Again, in this document, it seems really silly because it's a very short document, but I want you to think about those pages and pages of documents. Again, contracts that maybe you're going through, requests for proposals, maybe your opening packet that you're going to send out to your families. Just think your bigger documents. That's where your bookmarks really come into play. A couple of quick other things that I just want to talk about for purposes of things that I just think are really helpful. Just things that I've heard people get stuck on before. And a lot of times it's those visual things, because visual will hit us right away. Sometimes you will open up a document and you may see it look just like this. And you're like, where did my ribbons go? I am so confused. I want to show you over here on the upper right corner. There's a couple things going on. The first one is we have our three little elliptical dots. If we click those, that's going to be an automatic restore of what you had before. So this is just your quick way. Now, let's talk about this little button right here where you get to customize this ribbon. And so when we click this, the first thing that I did was the auto hide, and that's where it made, it made everything go away, but now it's showing itself again. When we go to show tabs, you're going to notice that we lose those commands that I was talking about, and we just have our tabs up here. That's good for people who know the commands that you need to do in there and you want more working space. You can collapse your ribbon. Then remember how we talked about tabs? And when you click on those tabs, you just have commands under them. And I keep going over it because I want to help you understand that it's not as confusing as it looks. It's kind of like this hierarchy of how you get to what you need to use. So we have tabs, and if I say show my tabs and my commands, here's that visual for you. These are your commands. And every time that I change a tab, my commands will change. Okay. Another thing that I do want to point out to you all is that this is the app version or the downloaded client version that lives on your computer. If you are operating in Microsoft Word for the web, it is going to look different. The functionality is different. So I would look for our next session on Word for the web and take a look at that video as well. That is all I have for you now. I hope that this was of value for you. We will have more trainings like this available. Please reach out to me, Debbie Descheneau, if there are specific trainings that you would like to see in the future. I thank you for your time and have a great day.